Hello and welcome back to the Spa Business Mastery Podcast. My name is Kirsten Foss and I'm so glad you're here, dear spa owner. Well, we are in January and I'm hoping that you are a little busier than you thought you would be. Now, if you watched my podcast in December, it was a spa owner's guide to surviving January because Lord knows this industry does tend to slow down in January, and many of you, after a very busy December, find yourself in this slump. So if you're still feeling like, oh gosh, like we're almost at the mid-month and things are still not looking great in terms of sales, then head back into the December podcast and take a listen to that one. But this particular podcast has a broader scope to it. And our topic today is called Resilience and Renewal: Three Steps to Navigating the Road to Higher Sales in 2024. Okay. So January is kind of considered a collective fresh start for pretty much everyone on the planet. And as a spa owner going into 2024, before you do anything, because it's far more fun to like just look forward and create goals, really looking at kind of the vision of your business. That's the fun stuff. But before you do that, you absolutely need to review what happened last year. And the reason why it's so critical to do that is because we learned lessons in 2023 in our business. You learned all sorts of things. You learned what worked and what didn't work in terms of marketing, in terms of the services that you're offering, in term maybe this was, 2023 was the year that you decided to build a team. There's all sorts of aspects. Your admin, how you're running the organization of your business. There's all sorts of categories in your business that, you know, need to be reviewed to look at what worked and what didn't. It's not a waste of time. It is such a valuable time to spend doing this. If we're not looking back and reviewing with data, not just kind of what we thought, if we're looking back and reviewing and debriefing how our year went, the good, the bad, the ugly, the wonderful, that way we can make better decisions in this upcoming year in 2024. If we choose not to debrief and really dig into the good, the bad, the ugly, the wonderful, excuse me, how are we possibly going to actually learn from the mistakes that we made? And mistakes they're okay. Business is one big science experiment. And, I prefer to look at it as a science experiment rather than I tried this and that didn't work and, labeling myself as a failure, but it doesn't work for anybody. So, it's critical that we do review these things in our business so that we're not repeating the same mistakes in this upcoming year. I know that, I listen to what's being said in Facebook groups, listening to clients, and I know you all are just so tired of working hard. And I know you all are really tired of like working hard and not having enough money at the end of every month, working hard and still struggling with, team culture. But today I really want to talk about sales because at the end of the day, if you don't have enough sales coming in, if you're not selling enough and making enough money, you don't have a business that's viable. So when we break it right down, there's probably all sorts of things going on in your business that need changing, but it's so important right now is to prioritize the number one thing that needs to be changed. And if you are struggling with that whole not enough money at the end of the month, then sales is something that needs to be focused on for 2024. Excuse me. Now, I'm going to go through, kind of talking about how to become more resilient with your sales in 2024. And I'm going to share 3 steps on how to do that. But after I've shared those 3 steps, I will be going into some numerology. So we're in a 9 energy month for the month of January 2024. And there's some very key high vibrations, low vibrations, basically high, kind of high behaviors and actions and thoughts and thinking, and low vibrations and thoughts and thinking and actions. So I want to go over that for you to be able to very clearly see if you are working in the high vibration of this month's energy or the low vibration. And it's not to pass judgment at all. It's really just an awareness for you so that you can work with the energy of the month rather than just feeling like you're at the whim of whatever the heck is going on. So we'll talk about that towards the end. Excuse me. Okay. So debriefing your business in 2020, debriefing your business of 2023. Why? Which I already said why. You need to know what's working, what's not. But what it really boils down to is it's about having integrity in your business, working in integrity in your business. Now, I know that, almost all of you would label yourselves working in integrity. Um, let's just define what that means. Working with integrity means that you have a higher perspective after learning some lessons. You've got this new vision of kind of how business is working for you. Integrity also means taking right action based on those new standards. It's walking your talk, and it is following through with things. So I think there's probably, if we're all honest with ourselves, there's places in your business where you are lacking integrity. And this was one of those big, felt like a big 2x4 up the back of my head when I had this realization. And it was many, many years ago. I had gone for training with strategies with Neil Dukoff. Gosh, what year was this? Probably 2022. No, sorry, 2002. So like over 20 years ago. Um, and he really named it well. And this whole topic of integrity in your business, he calls it no compromise leadership. That's Neil Dukoff. And I kept that term, no compromise leadership, once I realized that I had been compromising all over my business. I took that phrase, no compromise leadership, and I implanted it into my brain, and it came up a lot in order to remind me to make sure that I am taking the higher perspective from my lessons, to make sure I'm taking actions based on my higher new standards, to make sure I'm walking my talk, and to make sure I'm following through for not only for myself and the sales for the business, but for my team as well. So it was a big moment for sure. I still remember like kind of feeling, starting to understand this idea of integrity in my business and where I was lacking integrity, not in a way to shame me or blame me, but as a way to make me aware of what I'm supposed to be responsible for. So I realized I was out of integrity with like, I didn't have any systems. So how on earth can my team be successful in consistently getting those client outcomes and business outcomes if I didn't have any systems or structure set up for them? I'm going to get into some more details, but I really was like, whoa, I really dropped the ball. And I think that one of the key things for me is I didn't let it affect me in terms of blaming or shaming myself. I just was like, whoa, okay, my eyeballs are open. I can see exactly where I've been dropping the ball, where I've been lacking integrity, and where I need to take right action. Once I did that, once I got home from my course and I started putting systems into place, I created from scratch a team handbook, an operations manual, a sales system. I created spreadsheets and checklists for my team. And once I started implementing tactics with my team, I was able to turn my business around from being an absolutely blood-sucking, revenue-sucking business into a profitable business where I was then able to sell it because it was profitable and I had all my systems and structure in place for the new owner. But it was through very, very intentional focus and actions that I was able to step into integrity in my business. And when I was able to step into integrity, like literally everything turned around. I was able to, we started making more money. I started being able to pay myself a paycheck because up until then, it was literally hemorrhaging money. And, I didn't know how to change it or what to do. But with that But with those right actions and holding my integrity strong, I was able to totally turn it around and sell my business for a profit. So, whether you want to sell it or whether you want to keep it because it's now running tickety boo and it's giving you income, personal income, and there's enough money at the end of the month for pay for everything. That was a really great feeling. It was that total positive feedback loop that, yes, 6 months before I had this awareness that I had dropped the ball in lots of places. I had lots of work to do. Um, but, when I took the right action and things started moving in the right direction, I realized that if I didn't want to sell my business, I've got a really great business that is profitable. The team is all working together. I'm getting a paycheck. And because all of those things are happening, I'm feeling very fulfilled in my career. So, the whole point of this is when we step into integrity, we can take right action and work smarter, not harder for 2024. And that means that you're generating more revenues for the business in 2024. Remember, if you don't have enough cash flow, you are, I mean, you already probably feel like you're swimming underwater, but it's extremely difficult to make your business sustainable if there's just not enough cash flow. So, how do you make changes, especially this January when the energy is literally ripe for you stepping into your integrity, into having higher standards and walking your talk? So, spa business sales integrity, how to take action in 2024. Let's talk about it. So, how I want to kind of frame this up for you is I want to share what the problem is, and then I'm going to share with you a strategy. So I'm giving you very practical actions to take if you have been finding yourself cash strapped for most of 2023 and to make sure that this is not going to happen in 2024. Now, it may not happen instantly, but if you start literally today or tomorrow or even next week and stay committed, focused. If you watch my numerology yearly forecast, you'll know that we're in an 8 energy year and it's all about subject matter expertise. So you already have a leg up on lots of people because clients will want, their services to be given by subject matter experts. Okay. So with this 8 energy year, it's all about, momentum and flow. So, you're kind of in the right energy this year to start making these changes. Okay, so the first problem that many of you are having is just you missed your service goal in 2023. Maybe it wasn't an absolute goal, maybe it was like a bit of a wish goal, but either way, you're feeling kind of crummy because you did not hit the 2023 goals. What could possibly be the problem here? There's a couple of things in terms of so we're debriefing, you missed the service goal, we're still in debrief mode, we're trying to figure out why did we miss the service goal. So it could have been that you were giving, as far as people were booking and paying for, too many low level services. What I'm just meaning low cost level. This often shows up as lots of manis and petties. This also shows up as lots of your kind of basic entry level facials being booked. So that could be one issue. And that the other issue is that perhaps there just wasn't enough volume in services. Okay. So those are two very different problems that need different strategies, but I want to kind of give you a little bit more information on how to strategize this and kind of work it out. So the first thing I would do is to check out to see if you've got, what does your services kind of pie chart look like? Most of you are using software. You should have this information in your software where it gives you like a percentage of, which of all the different services, which ones were booked. Usually there's some sort of report in like Vagaro or MindBody or something like that. What we want to see is like what were your top 5 services that were booked. If they're lower cost services, then there's some decisions to be made in 2024 about, do we need to adjust our treatment menu? I know that many spas, when they get to this level and they look at this and they realize manis, they're doing a lot of manicures. It's taking up time that could be booked for higher level services like facials or massage. And so we want to be able to see that those percentages so that we can make some decisions in our service menu. Maybe you want to pull manicures off. That's a very common thing to have happen once you look at this and realize, hey, we're pretty booked, but we still missed our service goal. How does that even happen? That's when you ditch those low level services. The other thing to do with this kind of situation is maybe you don't have a sales system that moves people from those entry level services into higher level services. Um, and that is more like that's sales training, sales system. Now, if you just don't have enough volume, like just not enough volume of clients coming in, you just don't have enough people booking. To me, that is, need to look at what's happening with your marketing because you need more eyeballs in your business and coming in and booking. Okay. So those are two little pieces. There's still other issues that can happen in terms of a missed service goal, but those are two very common places. And I wanted to give you examples of places to look at so that, this podcast is very actionable for you and not just in theory. Okay. The second thing that may have happened in 2023 is you missed your retail goal. Very, very common. It's my opinion that there is so much opportunity to increase your sales in the spa industry, particularly if you have offer skincare. It's like a gold mine waiting to happen. And so many service providers, unfortunately, struggle with their confidence with selling. So if you've missed your retail goal, there's definitely some issues going on with estheticians having lack of confidence with selling. Another issue could be that maybe you need a more effective product line. Maybe if you guys are great at selling, great at product knowledge, and you're still not able to sell retail, perhaps the line that you have isn't active enough, doesn't have enough options for the clientele that you have. Okay. So that's missed retail goal. Again, there's other issues that could be causing a missed retail goal. But the strategy I'd like you to approach this with is to review your retail sales. Now review them, the spa as a whole. And if you have a team, you need to review each individual service provider's retail sales, because that is where you're going to find the gap. There's usually one or two people who are not selling at all for whatever reason. But you need to be able to have a scorecard, like a spreadsheet where you're tracking everybody's KPIs so that you can quickly go in and see exactly where the leaky bucket is coming from. Okay. So if that is the issue, you've gone into your KPIs and you've looked at the spa and the average is okay. Go into the service providers. You see a couple that are super low. Make a plan for you need to make a plan for team training for those particular people that are really low. But I would happen to guess that the whole team needs some support and coaching when it comes to product knowledge, a sales system. Usually that is missing from a spa. Like everybody is kind of expected to do their own little sales thing. And a lot of estheticians don't feel comfortable selling. And so spa owners are like, sell more, sell more. And the service providers are like, I can't get past this block. So it really requires a lot of attention and time and training as the spa owner or spa manager to get the team rolling on retail sales. There's a bunch of places there. Now, if all of those things are in line and they're working really well and you're still not selling retail, maybe if clients don't have a lot of faith in the product line, maybe they've tried some stuff and it doesn't really give them results they want. Like I said before, it may be time to research a new product line to bring in, or something to fill the gaps, private label to fill the gaps. Again, I'm giving very quick little strategies for you to get started on figuring out how to fix these things, but this is not an exhaustive list of where the problems are, nor of like how to fix them. Okay, another place here as far as sales that might have been frustrating for you at the end of 2023 is that maybe you had, as a spa owner, you had a low paycheck, inconsistent paychecks, or maybe even no paychecks. Um, and this kind of is an accumulation of low bookings, low retail sales. It could be that payroll is too high. I've seen a lot of spa owners stuck in the treatment room because payroll is so high for their service providers that they have to be in there. So, and the other piece is just general expenses, overspending, buying things when you're not watching if you can afford them. So, as an owner, if you're not getting a paycheck or it's low or it's inconsistent, one of the key pieces for you for 24 will be to understand your cash flow. That particular point for me, it illuminated a huge amount of information for me as an owner that I was, when you get to the end of the month, you're like, we're busy. We sell retail. Why is there not enough money at the end of the month? The only way that you're going to figure that out is through cash flow, forecasting your cash flow, and then keeping track of your actual cash flow. What's coming in, what's coming out exactly every single month. It's a bit of a beast for sure. I'm not going to say otherwise to keep track of your cash flow and to do your cash flow forecasting. But if you missed your sales goals in 2023 and you're like, dang it, that's the last year I'm doing this, I have got to get this together. Then understanding cash flow and forecasting and how those spreadsheets work will give you a huge amount of relief, and because you understand where the money is going. And when you understand where the money is going, then you can take action if there's money going in places that it shouldn't be, or it could be diverted into different ways or reorganized. But for me, that cash flow forecasting and then staying accountable and having my books done every month and seeing, getting the profit loss and the balance sheet. And then actually I made the spreadsheet with my actuals for my cash flow. So I knew exactly what I was spending. That was when I really started feeling like I was in control of my money with my spa. So that's the strategy. If find a cash flow worksheet, start using it, and include your pay in the cash flow. That was how I eventually got myself paid, because if we don't, we always know that money's going to go somewhere else. So I budgeted a line item in my cash flow forecasting for my pay, and it started low, but every month I made sure that I was budgeting more and more that I could take out until I got to a place where I could take the full amount that I wanted. So that is how you kind of unravel the money, where's my money going? Cash flow forecasting. The other piece for cash flow that I love is it's when you do cash flow forecasting, it's how you figure out exactly what your sales goals need to be. And then when you figure out what your sales goals are, kind of this general big number for the month, then you can break it down into weekly, daily, and even hourly, so that exactly, you can break it out for your team, how much each team member should be bringing in every day. And that makes it so much easier for everybody to stay on with the goals because they seem more achievable. For example, like if you were to tell me as a esthetician, Kirsten, you need to bring in $8,000 in services and $4,000 in retail. You tell me that at my meeting at the beginning of the month, that's my goal. If there's nothing happening in between, like there's no coaching or there's no I can't see where I'm at in my numbers, of course I'm going to lose momentum. I'm going to lose perspective, and I'm going to I might start off strong, trying, and then it's going to peter off. So we really need to make sure that, that our team has those smaller goals. If you're solo, makes it so much easier if you have those smaller goals, those daily goals that you need to reach. Because then it's just like, okay, I get into work, I methodically do my thing and plug along, and I hit my goals. And at the end of the month, I've made the bigger goal. Okay, I've got 4 things in here. I thought I had 3. So the final little piece here that you may have looked at 2023 and go, oh, dang, was that you were completely booked, but there wasn't enough sales. not enough revenues. And this kind of goes back to the first piece, like there's might be too many low-level treatments, low-cost treatments being booked, and it's literally just taking up space for the higher level. This happens a lot when, especially with solos. They've built their business kind of on general services, manis, pedis, waxing, facials. And then, they've had some success after a couple of years and they really want to get more into skincare and facials, but they have these rebooked clients all the time for manis and pedis. And, it gets boring after a while. So, I work with those particular clients to help them, kind of strategize how to shift out of like a fully booked schedule. Um, and so what that strategy looks like for you is to look at your pie chart again, figure out what is the biggest service that's kind of draining you, that's being booked. And, maybe you want to drop manicures. Maybe you want to limit, like block out certain like hours of time in the future that are only available to be booked for facials, can't be booked for manis, pedis, or waxing. So that's how I've helped clients kind of get out of that sticky spot with, they're fully booked with nail clients and they can't get any facial clients booked in to raise their revenues. And the other piece about, you're fully booked but not making enough money is you definitely need to do a cost per treatment analysis, because I suspect if you've got higher level services being booked all the time and there's still not enough money at the end of the month, then it's leaking from somewhere and it might be coming from your cost per treatment. Like your services might be priced too low. All right, so those were 4 places to look in your business to debrief in 2023 and the corresponding strategies and action steps to take for January and going forward into the months. Again, if you watch the 2024 forecast, momentum is a huge thing this year, huge thing. And the energy of momentum is here for you to literally kind of ride the wave on this year, but you need to be intentional about getting on the wave and staying on the wave. Okay. All right, let's talk a little bit about numerology. We're going to kind of switch topics a bit here, but still very relevant. So for those of you that have been listening to my numerology podcast and the forecast, so we're in an 8 energy year for the whole entire year. So that's universal energy for everybody. How you calculate that is you add up 2024, 2 plus 2 plus 4. Now, what that means is everybody's going to be experiencing the 8 energy, both the highs and the lows of the 8. If you didn't watch, if you want to know more about that, head over to the 2024 forecast, and it's all about the highs and the lows and how to use those. And every month will have a different energy as well. Now, it's really interesting because one would think that January is like the marker for fresh starts, but it's really just a collective agreement of everybody on this planet, kind of left over from the Roman Empire, that January 1st was the new year. And then, of course, consumerism jumped on the bandwagon for, new year, new you, blah, blah, blah. Now, when it comes to numerology in this January, this month, it's not actually a great time for fresh starts. January is a 9 energy month. 9 energy is the end of a manifestation cycle or end of any kind of cycle. And so you might be feeling like this bit of a push pull, like January, I should have, my business organized for the year. Like it's all about fresh starts. I'm not surprised if all of you or most of you are feeling like, I'm not quite done with 2023 yet. And that is because we are in this 9 energy month. It's about completions, it's about endings. And when you've completed a cycle, when you are ending a cycle, you have a higher perspective. You've been through it, you've learned it, and now and you're ready to end that cycle and start something new. So don't be surprised. I guess it's more, I want to validate you if you're not feeling that energy of like ideas and fresh starts and all that kind of stuff. It's because the energy of the month is a 9. It's still about endings. It's about endings and letting go. what this means is that, to think about what in your business do you need to say no to? So we just talked about some things that you might need to say no to. You might need to say no to low-level services or low-price services in order to move into this next manifestation cycle of more money, to be able to offer more facials and be open for more facials. Okay. So what do you need to say no to? Other things you might need to say no to is, just like your marketing, writing your emails. And this points to outsourcing. The other piece this points to, as far as what do you need to say no to, maybe you need to say no to new growth initiatives for 2024. If you've got a lot going on in your personal life, it's very important for you to be very clear about what you're saying no to, because you have a limited capacity. Maybe there's some stuff going on maybe there's some clients that you're ready to say goodbye to. This month would be a really great month to have those conversations with them, or team members even. And the whole thing about letting go, there's stuff that you need to let go of this month in order for you to move forward with the next manifestation cycle. One that brings you more peace, more clarity, more ease, right? So this is really just an invitation for you to think about, what's ready to let go for me? We're talking about business, but there could be plenty of things in your personal life that you're ready to let go of too. Fear, playing small, not following up. That's for me, that's my 2024 focus, is to follow up. Okay, more high vibration of the 9 energy is like graduation day. It kind of feels like, all right. So maybe look back at last year and reflect, okay, what did I learn from last year? What can I say I'm graduating? Maybe you took a new course, you had new learning in 2023. So that's the energy of like completion. I'm finished. I have this higher perspective. It's also ripe for reflecting and moving forward, which is what we're doing today in this podcast. 9 energy is absolutely about humanitarianism. Now, you guys are already working a bit in humanitarianism. It's about working for the greater good. And so if you feel like, if you're feeling some negative feels in your business, resentful, angry, stuck, critical, one of the best ways to soothe that is to look at how you can serve others. So humanitarianism is definitely a 9 energy. It's walk your talk energy. It is lead by example energy. That's why it's considered humanitarianism energy. So for those of you that have not been walking your talk in your leadership, as a solo, you have leadership, then this is the month to make peace with that and make a decision to do things differently. It's also the energy of forgiveness, right? Now, if we've gone through a cycle, we've had this learning and higher perspective, and usually when we have a higher perspective, we can forgive and let go. Now, let's talk about the low vibration of 9, because it feels really icky, and some of you might be in that. Low vibration of the 9 energy is perfectionism. It's like having those high standards that go way too high and nobody can actually meet them, even you. Low 9 energy is also very judgmental. So, this shows up on being critical with self, being critical with other people. When we know that when we're critical, when people are ticking us off, it's a mirror for us. Okay. So, but still that, highly judgmental energy, excessively high standards, analysis paralysis is the low vibration of 9 for sure. And also like when we look at, the numbers 1 to 9, it's this 1 is the start of a manifestation cycle. 9 is the end of the manifestation cycle. Now, if you're stuck in the 9, you're kind of stuck in that death cycle rather than stepping into the next creation. So through this understanding of the highs and lows of the 9 energy, you can, and now my topic probably even makes more sense for you when we're talking about spa business earlier in the podcast. So many of you are stuck in this death cycle of your business where it's not working for you. You can't seem to be making enough money. You can't seem to attract your ideal client. Like it's just this stuckness. But yet you have these super high standards. Like there's a huge gap in there. So if you feel like you're stuck in that cycle, then pay attention to the high vibration that you can choose to step into, because both of these energies we get to choose, high or low, at any moment. The issue comes in is when we're not aware of them. Then we feel like we're kind of at the whim of whatever comes our way. And if we're not feeling super great about things, it's easy to tip over into the low vibration of that 9. So this is all about awareness. I think that I'm really hoping that you're able to recognize that there's still some things to let go of in your business, even though it's January and it feels like you should be kind of getting started and looking forward. Pay attention. It's so critical right now to pay attention to those pieces that aren't working so that you can do them differently and step into that new cycle of creation. So February is going to be a 1 energy month. It's going to feel more like a January 1 fresh start. So, but we need to clean up. We need to clean up the energy of the 9, be in integrity with this energy. So what I talked about at the beginning of the podcast about, like, where are you dropping the ball? Where are you compromising your leadership? That's how you can shift out of the low vibration into the high 9 vibration. Okay. And then pop it into the 1 for coming up in February. It's going to be a really exciting month next month for ideas and innovation. So make sure you catch the podcast for that, because I'll be talking about the 1 energy for February. Okay. Now, so numerology is really just a massive tool for your mindset, for you to be operating at your greatest and highest level, right? Whether you believe in numerology or not, the energy is the energy. And I'm always one to, like, I'd rather work with it than not, and feel like I'm just kind of flapping in the wind. So this podcast is an invitation for you to notice where you are with your business integrity and to make a conscious decision about how you're going to handle it. Key here, business integrity, and how are you consciously going to handle it? This is not to shame you, but really just to bring you awareness to where you're out of alignment with your spa business. And when we're out of alignment with things in our spa business, that's where they feel sticky and not fun, and where we start feeling resentful. So let's start off 2024 with letting go of all that, the stuff that needs to be let go of, so we can step into our business and act in integrity with our highest, in our highest vibrations, and with intentionality. All right. So if you don't want to do this on your own, and if you were on my email, you would have received this week. You would just received an email with a brand new service on it, and it's an assessment and spa business plan service. So I created it because I know how overwhelmed you guys get with, like, getting started with a new year, ending the old year, like dealing with clients, trying to get your sales up. Like, it's a lot. So I wanted to make it a very easy yes for you to, like, get somebody else's eyeballs on your business, to have a high level perspective of what worked in 2023, what didn't, and what the priority should be going forward in this new year, because not everything can be a priority. And especially if you're cash strapped, the priority needs to be cash flow, right? So I will leave the link for the assessment and 2024 spa business plan service in with this podcast, and you can take advantage of that. Because what we're going to do is I'm going to also so you'll fill out an intake. We'll have a half-hour meeting to have a discussion about what your goals are. And then after that, I put together a one-page 2024 business plan for you that very simply outlines the opportunities, the easiest opportunities for you to generate some more cash flow in your business, as well as some action steps, some get started action steps, so that you can move forward, take a step moving forward right away. So reach out to me, DM me, email me at kirsten@kirstenfoss.com if you'd like to schedule that assessment and 2024 spa business plan service. And we'll do it together. All right. Thanks so much for joining me. And if you have any questions, please, I love your feedback and always appreciate your listening. Give me a follow, and we'll see you next week for a marketing spa business mastery podcast.